It's 4:31. We will call our July 28th meeting to order for the select board. I'll go over the agenda. Appointments. We have a possibility of interim town clerk Carol Scarrett appointment. Possible appointment of one of the following chief candidates as fire chief, Mr. William Farrell and Mr. Robert Valentine. Possible extension of acting fire chief, Mr. Patrick Kerrigan. Possible appointment of conservation and planning administrator, Ms. Carol Rock. We'll then shift to new business, determination on hiring for conservation and planning administrator. Discussion regarding extension of the interim town clerk. Police details for state primary on September 6th and general election November 8th. Then an executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A, Clause 2, strategy for contract negotiations for non-union personnel, fire chief. And executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A, Clause 2, strategy for negotiations for non-union personnel, conservation and planning administrator. And we will not return to session once we enter executive session. And we'll follow that with an adjournment later on. So let's open it up with appointments in regards to interim town clerk, Ms. Carol Scarrett, who's not in attendance. I can jump right into this. She sent, I think all of us, but I know she sent an email in terms of what she needs in order for her to remain interim town clerk. And quickly looking at the calendar, the interim appointment ends on the 31st of July. And that also means Jake's term as assistant town clerk also ends. So we're sort of in a tough scenario here where her requirements, what her needs are in order to continue working due to her commute, and the logistics of it are pretty strong.
She needs to put her up basically for 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah,
that could come out of the consultancy if that's what you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or you could just say, hey, let's try to find somebody, hopefully we have a candidate out of the 3 that we now have, and that we can train that person up, and that we can get some kind of consultant through either community paradigm, through municipal resources, and pay a little bit of money and just have that person do the training.
Yeah. In that lens, can we have her reappoint Jake if he's agreeable to that? And then if she decides that she no longer wants to work as of August 1st, does his interim appointment remain true?
If she's not
not
an
here.
employee anymore, just his credentials.
That's a legal question. I would suspect not.
I would suspect.
I would think so.
I'm sorry, who were the 3 candidates? I don't remember doing any interviews.
We had the first.
We
one
haven't-
who came in.
They're Tuesday. We haven't had the interview.
Yeah, the 2 that come
Yeah,
in next week.
you
Okay, fine. All right, I thought we already.
Yeah.
Karen had a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And we have a gentleman who applied, who has done work in the office on elections with Carol. He expressed an interest. I contacted him and said, hey, if you're really interested, contact us. And then we had a third one that submitted an application. So
And what,
I can't go into the
No,
specifics
yeah,
of their
yeah.
resumes.
but
I think at this point, given the marketplace and the fact that we're, if you look at even the planning conservation,
Can't get anybody. This is across the board. Schools are facing it.
Yeah.
Corporations, everybody.
you can get anybody you want if you want to pay.
the
Even
pay isn't
then,
bad for a part-time job.
it really isn't. I mean, relatively
Well,
speaking.
I was looking at all the assistant town clerk positions that are on the MMA board, and generally, assistant clerk was out there. They generally pay between $24, $28, $29 an hour. It's better than that. I don't, but it's a part-time position.
Yeah.
It's best served by somebody that would probably be local, that needs a little job, is willing to learn. it's not rocket science. I think we all know that. We're not asking for a person to be a brain surgeon, go to school for, 12 years to get there. I think it's just a matter of that person learning, just like Carol did. When Carol came to the office, she had no experience as a town clerk. And she learned how to do the job. And I think that that's not an unreasonable expectation if we can provide support for that person to actually learn. Somebody who's been through going through an election, somebody who's been through a town meeting can explain the,
Yeah, and I spoke with her briefly yesterday, and there's stuff coming in for early voting, things like that. So, I would like to.
I told her she could have those $3,000 in the budget to help her out with that.
Yeah.
I gave her the go ahead on that. So, she's gonna have Lynn come in and try to help her with that. So,
Yeah, and I know there are some requirements for timing, like being here on a Saturday, I think is required by the Commonwealth. I also realized, she said, it's a long ride for her, and I understand it.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I get, and, I get the rigor of that, and commuting is not, it's gone back to being pre-pandemic style, which is.
Okay, some days I've gone home from here at 5 o'clock and it's taken me an hour and 40 minutes to get home. So
Yeah.
I totally get that.
So I guess I'd like to find a way, and she's worked for us for a very long time, that maybe this is the point where we say, let's bring in a consultant that can do some of the stuff part-time. Hopefully we've had one candidate, we have 2 others to review. I think we got to narrow it down.
But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the candidate who was interviewed previously is gonna, want to be interviewed again. So
Yeah.
I hope so. We're not like boxed in.
Does she have to be re-interviewed?
Well, no, well,
No, but we may want to.
And so, all right, well, I don't know if she knows that. Then we run out of town clerk on Sunday.
Yes.
So she's really, the interim's got to get reappointed tonight, or no more town clerk on Monday.
Yeah.
Right?
It'd almost be, I hate to think of it, interim town clerk for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Until August 15th.
yeah.
We can afford that in our budget.
Yeah,
And
we can tell Carol with, hey, we're, gonna be interviewing. I think we gotta start interviewing. Same thing with the treasurer collector. We gotta,
Yeah.
we got a number of people for that at least, so you're gonna have some choice there. And I think you really, in order to give time to that person, whoever takes the job, in either position is gonna need to. So,
Yeah, so I guess that would be my,
and what's the plan for interviewing next week? I was under the impression we were gonna do it next Tuesday.
That's what I thought too.
yeah,
So, but there was no agenda posted today, so is that correct, or?
Tuesday the 2nd.
Well, technically, we could still post if I push the, as soon as this meeting is over. It's up to you if you want to do the 2nd or if you want to postpone it to the 9th.
I think we should do
No.
it the 2nd,
Yeah,
what we discussed at our meeting last.
I think we're already.
You can still throw it up there. Let's get it done.
What's the problem with keeping Carol a little longer?
I'm speaking for her, and I'm speaking in my opinion of what I think it's a lot. It's very rigorous for her to drive down here from her new home, and I don't think she's felt great the last few weeks. So I think she is very dedicated to the position. I don't think she can feel she can give it her all. If she's up there, and then some of her terms, in terms of if she is going to remain as an interim town clerk, could be quite expensive for the town. And it may not be advantageous for us to use our finances that way. This would be perfect at providing short-term stays in the area. And that begins to add up after,
2 months.
2 nights. And
Motel 6?
no, I mean, there's some specific requirements laid out that
It's gonna be like an extended stay, like.
like a residence in type of facility.
Yeah.
So
They're cheaper.
yeah,
Motel
she
Yeah,
she told me one that
kitchenette.
she had in mind. And again, it's just, I think she's very dedicated to the position. I feel personally that maybe, she might be better off just doing a few more weeks and then, setting herself free, go be retired. That's what she's worked so long.
This is not our decision, this is
Yeah.
her. She wrote us a rather lengthy email. Some of it's not privy because it affects her health, but what you're hearing is coming from her.
But if you say if he's doing a few more weeks, well, she's not gonna do a few more weeks, right? She's all done in August.
So her interim appointment is up August 1st. But we aren't doing interviews for the next town clerk potentially until August 2nd. So things still happen in the town that we need a town clerk to continue to do with the proper credentials. So perhaps we can negotiate with her if she's going to do 2 more weeks and stay on while we can isolate a candidate, offer them a job, and hopefully bring in a consultant to start to train them up while they're learning, come August 16, let's say, for simplicity's sake. That would be the goal.
And I'd also recommend on Tuesday that you have a provision for executives,
Executive session, yeah.
And make a decision.
That night,
Yep.
yeah.
That night.
Yeah.
We can't afford to revisit it at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, we'll throw
Yeah.
it, and also for the captain's position for the police department. That night too.
How about 3 o'clock, do we want to hold off and do it? We
You're
want to
really getting pushy.
I'm
need
just
people.
telling you what needs to be done.
Yeah, we're up against it in a couple different things here.
Yeah,
We're up against it.
No,
you're right,
no,
you're right.
No, that's, he's the TA telling us TA things, so you gotta get it done.
You're absolutely
When
right.
is Bonnie going?
The 15th of
Did
August.
anybody apply
I
for
thought it was
that?
We have a few,
I
yeah.
thought it was the
Oh,
21st.
that's good.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, so once again, you want to have a night, sit down, interview the candidates,
All that's
have an
true.
executive session, discuss what you like and didn't like. Is there a candidate to choose and make the decision, make the offer, and have a sequential and say, hey, if this person rejects it, this is
Yeah.
our fallback. So we don't waste any time coming back and discussing that. You have a top, 1, 2, 3.
So that can all be on the agenda for next Tuesday.
It's good. That, if you do that, you're gonna have 8 interviews, just so you know that.
Okay, so let's figure that out, because
Yeah.
that may want to start like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just don't know.
Can we-
And I'm just speaking for myself here.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know if that's right with everybody. I'm just saying that
Because you got
I
3
don't want to be
clerks.
here until 9 o'clock at night, because it's like,
Or we start earlier.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I can,
Keep bailing out work.
I can make that work. I can, that's fine with me, but I don't know it's fine with everybody else.
What was the original meeting time you posted for, Jake?
It's not posted.
Tuesday.
It hasn't posted yet, so.
So now it's a problem, because, wouldn't it,
Yeah.
you have 48 hours?
we do
Yeah,
this
today's
Friday,
Thursday.
but-
You have
Friday and Monday.
No,
Yes,
Friday, so it's 5 PM.
Well, the rule was with Carol is that you had to get it by what, 2 o'clock on Thursday, so.
yeah.
But he's the
But you're
assistant.
the assistant town clerk?
yeah, so
Right now, I can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Let's do could we do Tuesday at 3
What time?
3 PM Tuesday?
Oh, that's fine. As long as that's good with you.
I mean, yeah, I'll just keep explaining to my office.
Tuesday, right?
August 2nd.
Yeah, Tuesday.
And then,
And for this will be a banner meeting, we're gonna be here for a while, so.
It's all right.
I figure 40 minutes.
Yeah, bring some Gatorade. Let's get this,
Pizza delivered.
yeah, maybe. Let's get it done.
By the candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slot, have a time slot for each one.
oh, it's Friday. Who's doing those calls? You?
So I
What do
would
we
think Jacob, you work from home on Fridays, correct?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
So let's get that rolled up.
And then just in the town clerk's issue, candidacy, right?
Mhm.
Until I think Ellen Wiley
Ellen,
is still a horse in the race.
I would say that's correct.
Okay, and so if she needs to reapply or re-interview, I'm not sure that's a good thing at this point, because she's already done that process once. And if the other candidates that we have don't fare out or don't pair out for us, we're just taking the problem and exacerbating it, because quite frankly, I don't know how much longer Carol Scarrett's gonna hang on with us here. So I wouldn't want her to be eliminated through process and not,
I have no intention of.
Okay, great.
As far as I'm concerned, she submitted an application, we didn't make a decision on that
Yeah.
application.
Right.
We did it, actually.
I just, she'll be
Do we
one
send
of
a letter?
the considerations, and if she gets aced out.
We
great.
did, actually. Again, I can give her a call and ask her.
I don't think I'd ask anybody to reapply for a position that they were truly the only applicant for. That seems Just fundamentally, I have a management problem with that, but
No,
that's
that's
my own.
fine. I want us to be sure we're all on the same page. We didn't,
So we're eliminating, it, is that what you're saying?
we're not eliminating.
No, I think we're gonna keep
She's in the pool, but we're
her
not gonna.
applicancy, we have her
Yeah.
resume.
When we call her tomorrow, she'll say, he's, I already interviewed.
Yep. You guys could probably remember interviewing her,
And if you don't want to re-interview her, that's.
I don't want to re-interview her in light of the fact that that agenda is already stuffed. She's already come here, she's
Right.
made her presentation, she's pushed out her resume. We've had discussions with her. I don't want to take that schedule on Tuesday and make it significantly larger by adding her into rehab.
Oh, fine.
So we'll leave her.
As long as you're comfortable with the interview that you had.
Yeah.
And you were satisfactorily informed as to whether she's qualified for the job or not.
I think it's gonna be in the same par that we with these other guys, first discussion interviews, but you know what? We're gonna be pushed into making a decision here. I mean, one of these other candidates may hold quite well for the job. I don't want, I think, she's got some fire in the belly, and that is interesting to me.
Yeah, she has an interest in it, and she does have experience, municipal experience, having served as a selectman, so she understands the functions of the position. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Local person looking for
local
the hours.
person, right down, yeah. There's a lot to be said to that. There's another local person in the mix also.
Yeah, it's great to compare apples to apples.
That's all we're
Yeah.
doing with it. You're right, we'll make a decision and move it forward at that point in time.
We do need to have her name on the agenda as a candidate, but not being interviewed. Just for,
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe that's, if you're okay, or one of you gentlemen is okay, calling her and saying, we have two other people coming in. We're still gonna keep you on as a candidate, but
If she still wants
if
to
you're
be considered.
agreeable
Yeah.
to it, keep you on as a candidate, but we don't believe we need to interview you again.
Yeah.
We'll get back in touch with you with future questions if need be. Thank you. So do we want to offer current intern town clerk Scarrett 2 weeks? Ask her if she's willing to do 2 weeks to August 16th.
But is that gonna include? I'm a little reluctant, I don't know, I just she knows what her commute was, and I understand she's got some issues going on and concerns, but I feel like that's a lot of money that could be directed elsewhere that would be a little bit more productive.
Oh, but we'll be out of town clerk on Sunday night.
Takes one notice of death and then
And we're out of assistant town clerk Sunday night, so there's a liability issue to the town not to have a town clerk. That becomes the driver, it's a management issue. He's out and she's out. We're out. I don't know, we got a choice.
I think I'd be willing to do.
But I guess in the next 2 weeks, we need to learn specifically what would be the tasks that you'd have to perform here
Yeah,
in order to, to say, we're willing to put you up 3 nights, to come down and, if it costs you $1,200 and, we protected our position and we have a clerk and assistant clerk. And
Yeah, I think that would be you think 3 nights over the next 2 weeks? At her discretion to schedule, but
Right.
notify us of
Yeah.
And that's,
said nights.
and that's the driver behind it, because I will tell you, she's commuting from there to here. That's an hour and 45 minutes, all right? And now we're back to
Yeah.
boondoggle on the road.
Mhm.
No matter whether you're sleeping over and there's an inconvenience to that, or doing that drive every day, that's gonna wear real quick. for her.
Yeah.
And she's got some mitigating other issues that are factored in. So we gotta, do you have any other, is there anything else that we do? If we don't put her, if we don't reappoint her, we run out of town clerk Sunday night. What's that? We don't have a B plan. Where are we?
I could, once again, I could try to get somebody to, through one of the consulting companies to come in and try to give us a person to fill in.
But then we got.
That's a big, even that's a big ask.
Yeah, that's not.
We'd have to be appointing them on Tuesday. You'd have to be appointing that consulting firm to take over as
Yeah,
town
that's what I
clerk
was saying,
Right.
yeah.
administrator. You know.
I think we, the choice is pretty clear, you know, I think that's
The only
we don't really have a choice. So,
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
So
You,
Is there discretion on where she stays?
I'm sorry, what was
she
that, John?
explained
I
it.
said, none of you guys have
Where
an
is it?
extra room.
Yeah, we do. I don't know if she'd want it.
Do you have to do a background check on this?
Usually. Yeah,
It doesn't seem to me like you're leaving a whole lot of wiggle room here.
we don't, but I don't think we got
I
a
mean,
choice.
I understand
a
that
background
A quorum check?
Yeah, that's-
The
I've done. hundreds
Say
of
again?
things. Nobody.
town is up against it, but, you know, whose fault is that? I mean, is it mine?
Well, the three of us and no applicants.
Well, Gladden just had 19 applicants. I understand it's a full-time position, but, you know, why did they have 19 and we have one?
It's a full-time position,
Full-time
probably a lot
position.
more money.
It's almost us.
And our
Maybe
budget doesn't
I
allow
thought
for
it was
this to be, you know, it's
I
like,
thought it was around like 75, 80.
people wonder why we don't have candidates.
For
but
no
then
work on a
no one-
Friday.
We don't set a budget that puts people in full-time positions and people,
You
Don't want a
bump it up
part-time
to a full-time
position.
position, pay $8,000, I'm sure we have more candidates.
so if we start seriously overhauling our job descriptions and
Right.
salaries,
Need money.
it'd be different.
It's the same reason we
can't
don't
have it
have
both
town
ways.
administrator candidates. It's the same thing.
We
I think
can't
we
have
had
it both
two.
ways, have it be cheap and get everybody.
Dave's working 40 hours a week for us. We're paying him for not 40 hours a
More
week.
I'm working 80, and getting paid for 20. So,
Patrick knows the same thing. He's doing a ton of work and he's. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have a path.
You want to make a motion to make an offer?
2 weeks until a new clerk is hired,
Well,
because she's not planning on staying in training this person, right? We're gonna
Yeah,
hire a
And I
consultant.
can work on that part in the next 2 weeks. to get
Okay.
somebody.
She
Okay.
did, if my memory serves me correctly, she said the last possible day she was going to do it was August 31st.
I think I heard that too.
And she's.
But then we're paying two people, we're paying her in her housing and mileage and everything else.
Yeah, we have $20,000. We had 20K. we
And,
gave some to
and
Jay
a new person,
And
yeah,
a new person, but we also have a town clerk salary line.
Yeah.
I think there's money there.
There is money there.
Yeah. And I'm less apprehensive about spending money as opposed to getting a warm body in the seat.
no, I agree.
That's gonna stick around.
It's not like this has not been challenging. You know, it's no reflection on the town, it's no reflection on me or the board. It's a reflection on the marketplace that currently
Yeah.
exists. And, you know, it's a competitive marketplace, not only in town, but like you said, everywhere.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that we appoint Carol Scarrett into the position of interim town clerk for a period of time to August 15th and no later than August 31st.
16th, because that's a Friday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
16th, rather, I'm sorry. And no later than August 31st.
Second,
All those in favor?
Wait a minute, August 15th is a Monday.
Oh, I was looking at July, sorry. August 15th, you're
Monday,
right.
August 15th. Or Wednesday, August 31st, no later than Wednesday, August 31st.
second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
So then she can reappoint Jake to be the assistant interim town clerk. Correct.
That was your title, Jake? Assistant,
Yes.
assistant intern
No,
counsel?
I think she's just appointing the assistant town clerk.
Okay,
It only be concurrent for her period.
and you're agreeable to that extension?
Yes.
What was the date again?
15th.
15th. Did you satisfy that topic?
Yeah.
Next agenda item was possible appointment of one of the following candidates as fire chief. Mr. William Farrell and Mr. Robert Valentine. Carry on.
No, you know, we talked with both of these guys twice. And in my opinion, it's my opinion, Farrell did an excellent job in these discussions. He's made his mark. And I think he's exceptionally well qualified to be a chief as well as working. Right, and that's been an issue we've had here now, where fire chiefs that we had didn't go on calls, and the town's too small for that. That guy's gonna be able to get behind a truck and drive. And I don't know, I mean, Mr. Valentine, I don't know, he was off his mark, and I guess you can have that, but he was clearly off his mark the other night in those discussions. He was kind of short with his answers, and I don't know, I guess everybody can have a bad day, but I think Farrell is gonna give us the time. I think he's gonna develop the camaraderie amongst the rest of the firefighters. I think he's gonna give us some leadership. I think he's gonna work collaboratively. I think it's gonna be a different business model. He certainly, as I said before, these guys gotta get out and drive that fire truck. They just have to. And he's gonna do all that. And so I've always felt that he's been a good guy to put in that role. And certainly that was re-emphasized the other night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I can see the pros and cons of both guys. I agree that Farrell, I think he interviewed better this past time. Valentine, he was off his mark, but I appreciate his experience. I appreciate that he is coming in on a fresh slate by not having experience with the town. I appreciate that he wants to work full-time. The pros for Farrell is that he's close. He does have experience with Dunstable, but is it too close? Is it too much? And is it sort of perpetuating sort of this, I don't know, situation that we've been trying to resolve for a while? And the other thing is that I appreciate his understanding of trying to save money, but we were looking for a full-timer and he's proposing part-time and basically said that you couldn't afford me if I work full-time. So
No, I don't think he said that. I think the position is not affordable.
maybe
Not
that's not how I
necessarily.
interpreted it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I didn't take it that way. I'm torn. I don't know. I think they will both succeed.
Valentine is going to be coming from Global.
He's willing to move.
He said there was some chance of that. And this guy's not going to be around. He's going to be around during the day for whatever shift there is, and he's not going to be, Groveland's going to be at least 45 minutes.
Well, so my take is I want a full-time fire chief that's here. That's what the budget was decided on by the town.
That's what we were informed about.
And that's what was presented at the committee level. And that was part of the reason why Roy did not work out, was we started low, we made him another improved offer. It still wasn't enough. I heard Mr. Farrell say, you know, I'm not going to leave being in Nashua. I'm going to just cut down on my OT shifts. And I can't juggle 2 full-time jobs in a day. And I believe he's doing a full-time job in Nashua. And I want a full-time fire chief.
Isn't he proposing, to do part-time and then, and doesn't he want a deputy chief to,
Yeah.
To
He wa-
fill in?
He wants to enhance the officer staff.
And how much is that,
It's another,
how much is that gonna cost?
that's another benefit of the position.
We don't have that set up.
Yeah, we don't have that in our.
It's not a benefit position. No, it's not.
It's just an appointment. I mean, it's a,
He was assistant chief. He didn't have medical insurance.
it's just a ranking, you mean?
Yeah. You didn't have medical insurance.
Yeah, for my employer, not from now.
It's a rank. And we had a deputy. Wasn't Charlie a deputy?
Brian was,
Brian was a deputy.
yeah,
Half a dollar with that.
yeah.
So those positions exist and they've been existing. So now you get, there's a couple of things going on here, right? There's this notion that we're gonna pay a fire chief $100,000 a year. And we can't even afford a town administrator. I put my money in this position. That's a department position. And the department is small in of itself, and he's presenting a different business model. I choked on the Roy thing at $97,000. I think we went in for a little less than that in the end, but the truth of the matter is, I don't know that you'd be able to afford that guy. I mean, if the town doesn't pass an operational override, these guys might be out of a job or in for a pay cut or cut the firefighters to support their salary. And go with the less expensive model and put the money into a town administrator. We just said the guy's working umpteen hours a week. I forgot the number that we're paying him, but it's a joke. And we're hiring a fire chief at 97 in the pocket, plus his loan. That's $130,000 a year down. Making a town administrator that I'm asking to work 40 hours a week, and oh, by the way, we'll pay you for 24. We gotta change our thinking here. This guy or his position needs to be the $100,000 position, and the fire chief needs to be the $50,000 a year position. I don't know if we don't have an operational override next year, and that free cash number doesn't come in appropriately. I don't know. Something's going to go, and we'll hire a fire chief, and then sorry, yeah, well, we got some problems. You can't pay. We're going to lay off all the firefighters. We're going to keep you. It's a conundrum, and it's not. There's a lot of dynamics in place with this, and Farrell's just giving you a different business model. It absolutely works. These guys are going to support it. Not just him, but certainly the others have rallied support around this guy over the last few weeks, right? And as I said before, we interim fire chief that fire department to death. And the last choice we made was really pathetic, really pathetic. And I'm not even sure there's not going to be any ramifications over some other issues after he's left that are still waiting there in the wings for us to deal with. And
So
so,
then wouldn't you want a clean slate?
yeah, and that's the way you're going to get it, because he's coming in with a fresh pair of eyes.
But he's not, because he said, he goes, I was out on the calls recently. So that's not a fresh.
Yeah,
fresh
but
set of eyes.
but there's, okay.
But that's it, right?
No, he understands the town, which is a good thing. He
Also a bad
understands-
thing.
He understands. If I was hiring,
Maybe.
if I was hiring somebody, and I do, all right, if I was hiring somebody to take over a position on the pharmaceutical accounts, and that person came to me as a former employee of the company with skill set that matches what I want, we're gonna hire that person, especially in this economy. We're gonna bring that person on because they got that tribal knowledge. He has some tribal knowledge of what goes on around here, and that's an advantage for us. And not that Valentine's not qualified on paper, he's living out there.
Well, Valentine's absolutely qualified.
Absolutely he is.
Yeah, he's a chief right now. He
Yeah.
wants a full-time role. As one vote of the board, I want a full-time fire chief here.
I do, but not at $97,000 a year.
Well, with a part-time, that's even to consider having two full-timers now there will sort of make up for the deficit of the chief being
Right.
there.
That is the, bit, and it also then takes these guys, of which their staff is somewhat depleted because of an issue that they had. It gives them the opportunity to participate more enthusiastically. That there's some opportunity for them to move up in rank. And I just think that you know, Bob Valentine did a nice job. He's a nice guy, but I just think we're just gonna end up dealing with something else with this in the short term with him again. So I feel. I also, as I said, I'm not sure what Patrick Roy was doing when he was interviewing, but clearly his headset was to try to see how far along you could get in the interview process. And then the guy worked as a captain in a fire department that's getting 10 building fires a week. He's not gonna come here to get one building fire every 3.5 or 4 years. It's not what they do. You know, at fire, you train, you go through all this orientation and accreditation. You don't want to sit in the fire station. And he was giving that up, and I questioned that from the beginning. And this is what we got. We offered him the moon, and he said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. And Valentine's doing the same thing. He's looking for something. I don't know. We never asked him really why he wanted to leave Groveland. I don't
Be
think.
closer to his family. That's in Ashby.
And he wants a more progressive
Yeah.
environment.
It's not here. It's not with us.
How old is he?
We can't tell you
His
that.
age shouldn't matter. So,
Yeah, we can't tell you that.
I just wonder if he's just, not too far from retirement,
That's a fair statement.
trying to get his,
That would be a fair statement, but that's about all. It's not a consideration. That's all. But so this, you know, I know you guys are more torn with this. I'm not. And the more I think about it and talk about it, the more.
I'm the one that's torn, you're not torn, you're not, you guys are both set. And I'm like, I think I need to go attend to something at home right now.
I mean, and we have the acting fire chief right now. I mean, it's been some years of tumultuous things going on down there. I won't put you on the
Oh,
spot.
no, you can't. I'll tell you, like, this, a different model too now with those two people during the day than it was when we just had one person. You know what I mean? Like you said, like you just said, it's nice now that there's two people there, and like I said too, it would be nice to try to even split that. Now that we have the two people there, where is you could have a deputy and a chief there with overlapping and leave with 4 people rather than just one full-time chief, only leave with 3, like that benefits the town huge. And we talked before too about, like you said, less money, and you could put it towards, I'm big about trying to staff, you know what I mean? Like, that's what the town needs, and trying to do night coverage now and stuff like that. So there is already a position in the payroll for the deputy chief and stuff, but it's not filled. But like I said, it's a different model now with 2 people there, which is great. It's huge. So maybe you don't need I mean, I've been doing it for 3 weeks now. I've been doing it fine with my full-time job. I do it on my day. I'm still there 4 days a week at least. And it's been working fine, you know?
So you haven't hired 2 per diem?
We have every day.
You did, you
Every
have.
day, with including, and then when I'm
Okay.
there, I'm off.
Okay.
So, and it wouldn't stop if.
You haven't hired new people, they're being hired from within.
Yeah, we put on a couple of new people recently.
You have,
as well,
okay.
Yeah. But they haven't started working shifts yet, because they're still in their trainings and all that. But as far as what we have, you know, what we had, for people who pick up shifts.
I do like the idea of having that extra money and putting it towards a fuldtime TA,
Well,
because
That's
that's where we're.
that's where our
struggling.
money needs to go. I think that, I'll be honest with you, I know I'm gonna digress, right? I think I hate to use this word, but it's probably appropriate. We probably cheated Brian out of some money over the years. The guy was working 60 hours, 70 hours. This guy's doing the same thing. They're career professionals, and they're committed to their jobs, and they're doing whatever it takes for a salary. And I'm gonna give a fire chief a Dunstable fire, not that it's wrong, a Dunstable fire chief's gonna make $130,000 a year. you know, they do medical calls now, but the truth is, it's still a really small fire department in a small town. And let's get real. We've got so many of these issues that are going on around here that are just this contract with the water thing and all. When the hell does this shit end? We're gonna put some money and put it into the TA's job and hire him.
We're running into HR issues down at the fire department. We need a human resource trained tactician who's been doing this for a while, and that is a chief.
No, it's not. It's the town administrator. He's the human
It's
resources.
a strong
officer
chief
for
down
the town.
there.
It is.
Absolutely not true. That's
He is a
true.
strong
The
chief.
chain of,
It
the
is.
chain of command is it goes to the chief and then it goes to the TA and then us.
No, any of the HR issues for town employees belong to the human resources manager for the town.
Which is
This
the
guy.
TA.
That is not the fire chief's role. That is not the fire chief's role. He is the human resources manager for the town. If the chief has an issue where he's got a human resources matter, he's gonna kick that up to him.
Yeah, he disciplines to a
I'm an
point.
executive
but he
vice
disciplines-
president's
he
role. I just can't fire
He
people.
disciplines to a point. The chief does.
He has rules and regulations within his operating procedures, but if he has a human resources matter, he's gonna send that up the ladder to the human resources office. They are town employees. They are town employees. He owns that. And what makes this worse is this one incident that's cooking right now, he was totally out of the loop on it. He didn't find out about it until I told him. After it happened. That's not, a strong chief doesn't mean just do whatever you want to do. If I want to build a new fire station, I'm gonna build a new fire station. The hell with it, let me start tomorrow.
So then,
That's not the rules and regulations. You do have guardrails on those positions, and that's one of them.
so
You
then
just can't
you
make
have
rules,
someone,
throw them all out, and then do whatever you want to do.
sure, but then you have someone he's well versed with the community, which is positive, but also knows the ins and outs of the characters down there. And some of those are the issues.
Well, I would say though, they're mostly beyond that, honestly, like, truthfully, there's not,
Those folks are gone.
there's not any, and now when he's talking about, that's not even, neither of the individuals that involves is even on the fire department anymore.
Yeah,
Realistically,
Yeah.
it's turned over pretty significantly.
and full.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
Sorry. I thought Farrell did a really good job the second time around. I like him and I liked how responsive he is, but, and I would say this right to his face, I go, you don't want to be here full time, and that's what I want. That's what I believe the town needs. We need, even if Valentine or whoever, John Smith is going to take it and do 3 years full time, great. Be here every day.
We don't want to do this in
That's what
3
I'm
more
trying to
years.
say. Coming from our standpoint,
I don't want that either. That's.
But I mean, what happens if someone retires in Nashville? Like, you can probably see that you work in Nashville as well, right? So you know the chain in terms of when the next people are going. And Farrell and you have to be on that list at some point for progression. Like, that's the natural evolution of the career.
But year, like 20 years away from leaving.
No, to the next promotion where you make 150K a year. You're like, you know what? I'm good. Like, I only got so much time in the day.
Right.
I know in my family, that's how it works with police. You wait for the next person to go, and you're just like, all right, now I'm up. I'm kicking the can on the details.
And I don't think we're getting any guarantee from anybody.
From either one, really,
Yeah,
Farrell takes it, says, oh, he's now I've got, 2 years worth of experience. I can go down to Berlin or go to.
right. I mean, he could do the same thing.
And make 150,000. Why would I
Yeah.
want to stay here for 100?
That's, yeah, I mean, that's with any one of these guys. We have firefighters that come and they learn how to connect the fire hose, and the next thing you do, with the guys in Framingham, there's guys in Marlboro, they all started here. They did, and we put money into them. We bought them turnout here, we paid for them to go to fire academy. They came here, they got their certifications, and then they
That
left.
happens all the time.
I get it,
It
that's just,
happens in police too.
Yeah.
that's just,
Probably even more so.
that's just part of the, and the
That's why
chiefs.
they have agreements that say if you don't stay 3 years, you have to pay back the cost
Yeah,
of training.
Yeah.
So we send you to the academy and the cost is $5,000, it's prorated. If you don't stay the 3 years, you pay us the money back.
We don't have that arrangement. We paid for it. I don't know how to pay. We paid for it.
But that's the way most.
Yeah, I'd be in for,
Well,
I'd be in
can't we do
favor of
that in
that.
any contract? We can't put that into a contract?
We've not tried it. We do that in corporate. We pay for you to go to get a bachelor's degree. And you, after you get your bachelor's degree, you bail out, you owe us a portion of
A
your
3-year
education.
contract.
Yeah.
Like we do with the police chief. There's.
I know it's another.
I'm gonna have us shift to a question from Mr. Simmons.
Sure.
Um, If somebody's working for another department, under their health insurance, do we offer them health insurance also, or how does that work?
Well, it would be part-time, so I guess no.
There's no health insurance.
But they would-
Depends on who we hire.
Well, what is it, 24 hours? You have to work 24 hours, and your job is advertised at 32.
20.
It could even be 19.
Well, if that's true, if that is true, then the per diem guys would be entitled to health insurance if they're working 20 hours.
It's
If they're
aggregate.
not regular employees.
It's a very few, if not regular employees, it's like 1,080 hours for the year. It would be up to the fire chief to make sure they stay under that administratively. By design.
What, Harold, what is that,
What?
the medical insurance thing? Because if he's getting that now, right, we're not gonna pay him here, so he wouldn't get health insurance.
Unless it's cheaper.
It's just cheaper to
Better
come here.
plan.
Yeah.
But he's in the union up there, he's not gonna come here.
He's not gonna get up to the union.
He ain't gonna get, he's getting annuity, gratuity and everything else.
Anybody that's in the union is not gonna give that up there. I don't think, you think we agree with that? Yeah.
Is he too close to be able to step back and actually? I mean, you guys are like peers. A lot of the other firefighters in our department are peers. I'm concerned that it would be difficult for him to sort of step back and rise above and maintain an objective view of what's going on, you know, with personnel, if anything comes up.
As far as like being friends with you or anything, or?
Well, you have
Well-
close peers, you got family down there. you got the whole
Well,
thing going.
that's the other, you ask Patrick.
Who's
Yeah,
who's related
yeah,
to.
true.
I like you, Patrick.
Oh,
Like, it's gotta be on the record.
We're having a discussion here.
I know.
He is the
He
acting
is-
fire chief, but
Right,
there's
he is
also a
Okay.
relationship.
Right,
you
I know, so I guess it's,
But he's also the people, again, they're all on that. Come on, you know. There's a lot of new people out there.
well, I mean, I'm concerned about the money, but we put it in the budget. I don't know,
The $40,000 swing is not gonna save us based on where we're going, so.
It will next year. If you need to give that to the TA, it will next year. We're faced with a town administrative decision in the next few months.
The advisory board had a hearing for the bylaws of the board. It was crickets, you know, about the $97,000 for the fire chief's salary. We went to town meeting, it was crickets,
yeah,
and now we're on the threshold of hiring somebody, and we don't want to pay $97,000. I don't want to pay $97,000 either, but I asked the question in the budget process, where did this number come from? And Brian said he researched what a full-time chief would be and prorated it because it was gonna be a 32-hour-a-week job.
yeah, no, I agree with you, that,
And, you know, okay, well, that makes some sense, but, you know, I mean, Brian was 85, and I don't know if it would be up to $97,000 now or not, but, you know, he was right up there. Plus benefits.
yeah,
And it's 93.
Yeah,
Uh,
93.
His last one was 93.
And if you're gonna get a full-time town administrator,
We're in six figures, right on.
yeah, you're at 100, 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that person manages the whole town. I'm gonna have a department head that's gonna be making more than the town administrator.
You've got a police chief making more than everyone.
but yeah, that's true. You do.
Yeah, but look what he's doing.
Police chiefs are usually the highest paid employees in most towns.
Yeah, 'cause
Not
they have the
common for the
incentives.
manager or the administrator to make less.
education group centers.
Yeah. These guys are going to court. I mean, I was at the courthouse in Air, and the Dunstable police officer up there testifying, and the district attorney was grilling him. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Fire chief's putting out a fire, you're going home. So,
You're waiting for me, right?
I am.
A lot of pressure.
You want to be my proxy? Anyone? Dave?
No, I'm staying out of this. I don't even live in town, so.
Harold? I can't decide.
Harold still has Brian's number.
He still has what?
Brian's number.
Ah.
I mean, there's a chance they both say no.
Yeah.
Because I
There you
mean,
go. Yeah.
if I'm, like, I'm
That's
paraphrasing, if I'm Farrell, I left here that night thinking, I'm gonna lose my OT in Nashua. And if you could infer what I was asking, you could probably would have picked up on the fact that I want him here full-time.
Mhm.
And he may say, you know what, Constable, I'm gonna stick with the good money I'm making in Nashville. And Valentine could say the same thing. He may say, there's not a chance I get a house in Pepperell. So we gotta shoot our shot here at some point. And
Well, the numbers that he gave for time, I don't like the scenario of, it being remote. I mean, I understand things that can, I don't know. Joan? Yeah, put your hat on.
you guys want a full-time chief? Or do you
How about
prefer
I
two
would
positions?
say that things have changed, like now that we have 2 firemen down there, which we didn't have
Yeah.
for years, except during COVID, and that was a short amount of time, so.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference in daily life down there. There's now 2 people there plus the chief. And like I said, I've been doing this now for 3 weeks and it's been working out great.
Why don't you just stay at it then?
No.
Careful what you say.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather see the command structure be built and we can, I think that would be a huge step. Whether it's part-time or not, you know what I mean, like, that's building that base, and then truthfully, I think that's how I just have to see being in this role for a few weeks, and 2 people down there now, the roles are spread out more, rather than just always the fire chief and everything. Now you have people doing inspections, and the chief can be in the office, or not, you know what I mean, like, that's truthfully, that's the concept of Dunstable.
yeah, it's a small
You
town.
can get caught up pretty quick in a few days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how you can have a 40-hour chief in the fire station all day long. Keep him busy, keep his mind occupied. I just
I
don't.
mean, we have only ever had, well, Brian was full-time for a while.
He was, but
He also did everything.
Yeah.
He didn't have any other people working.
he did. And he had other things too. He was raising and lowering the flags up and around the town and all kinds of stuff. So. And then I listened to Mr. Valentine talk about getting the town the ambulance service, and I think that ship sailed all the time ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, as he said, he pulled that off the website. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm gonna probably disappoint a few people here. I think I'm gonna kind of lean towards going with Farrell and, considering things have changed significantly down there and if we feel that this scenario can function with a part-time chief, and Ron's argument is convincing about taking that extra money and shifting it towards a TA, full-time TA, which we are going to have to be starting to looking for by the end of the year. I am assuming your contract is done the 3rd of December. I'm still a little wary of the closeness of it, and but I think I have heard things about Farrell from outside, from people that no one knows who are connected to him. But I have some sort of avenue in, and it's nothing but good things. And I think the benefit of having him close is important. That's one of my biggest drawbacks of Valentine is the distance, and who knows how quickly that he could get here. He may be here, full-time during the week, the extra 12 hours than what, the 20-hour part-time would be. But a lot of the times the calls and issues are when he's going to be driving home or at home, and it just is that's a haul. I go to Groveland a fair amount for my work, and it's a long drive. It's really a toss-up. I think it both would succeed, but I kind of.
5:30, if you're okay with that, I'm gonna move that we appoint him into negotiations. Is that right, David?
That would be correct.
Appoint him
Make an
into
offer contingent upon
Negotiations.
successful negotiations of the contract.
offers contingent upon successful negotiations of an employment contract. So a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Back up in the case that for some crazy reason.
Yeah.
Do we default to, do we want to have a secondary motion?
No, I don't, honestly, I don't know what to do at that point. You have to, I don't know.
I think we have, well,
We
I would
We got
default
back.
that, yeah,
Reopen the search,
open the search
never let
again.
Top bed. Real top bed.
open the search.
I mean, there were how many applicants before that were
15.
15?
Yeah.
And any of those were, the remaining 12 were just not,
He had a
I
committee
have
there.
to, honestly, I have to go back and look again now. I really would.
All right, so that's, then, do you have to leave?
Yes, yeah, you good with me?
We need to extend your appointment.
We need to
Okay.
extend your appointment,
Yep.
yeah, I think they got it. Do you have a call?
Yeah.
How about to August 30th,
August 31st, right?
31st, yeah, whatever the number is.
So I'm gonna move that we appoint Patrick Kerrigan,
Pending appointment of
Yep.
soon to be Farrell.
that we appoint Patrick Kerrigan, reappoint Patrick Kerrigan to the acting fire chief's position for a period of time not to exceed August 31st.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yep.
Next on the agenda is possible appointment of conservation and planning administrator, Mr. Carol Brock. Carol interviewed a few nights ago. She was our only candidate. She did a nice job. She's from corporate background, predominantly corporate background with some ties to the town. She seemed pretty personable to me, pleasant to interview and chat. Has some tech skills, which is nice, and I think would be complementary to
go
those
back,
roles.
absolutely.
A lot of learning opportunities for her in terms of planning nuances and conservation nuances, but overall, a pretty welcoming person. I thought it was the first time I met her.
I do too. So my only concern is that the boards need to be comfortable with her being hired. And,
Conservation Commission, we met later that night and discussed, and they are in support of
okay,
extending
and
it.
then the planning board, is
She's been at least one of our meetings and talked to some of the members.
and so if we put her on the spot, we're not doing the wrong thing.
I don't think so.
Okay. I liked her. I mean, she lives in the town. You know, it's a
Yeah.
kudo. It is. I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, but it's a kudo. My only concern was whether or not she had this, and she's dealing with all these different personalities and boards change and, there's a certain level of that people skill that you gotta manage that, right? It's just-
Yeah.
It's a municipal setting, and corporate, you just can't. So I'm okay with it. They're okay with it. Let's give her an offer.
Okay. Is there a motion to solidify that?
I'll move that we extend an offer to, I don't know what her, is it Carol Rock, for the position of Conservation Planning Board Administrator.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, aye. That was it for appointments in our discussions. We're shifting to new business, but we talked about that. I think we're going to shift to executive session to determine
No, we didn't. There's an item on the agenda here, on the new business. We gotta get to this.
police
Police
detail.
detail.
Yep,
Yeah.
police
It's the
detail.
same we did for the special, there's just a new law the state passed, so we can delegate to the chief again like we did last time.
Okay,
And so I'm gonna move that the Board of Selectmen allow the town clerk to engage a police officer for the September 6th state primary on and on the November 8th general election.
do we want to say acting town clerk on that day? Because it could be a consulting firm-ish.
Town clerk, acting town clerk,
Is that
whoever's in
semantics
that
or-
role, whether it's
Town
acting
clerk or acting town
Yeah.
clerk.
town clerk or
Yeah,
acting.
In lieu of-
just in case. Who knows?
That's
where they'll-
Move forward.
So that's my motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I got one other last one before we leave. There's a banner in front of the town that is,
You guys didn't approve that?
well, we don't have to.
Oh,
We gave him the responsibility, we gave him the authority to do that. My only question is that I think I drove by it and saw the guy's name as Al, and I think his name is Pete.
The one that usually does the banners is John Crandall, especially for veterans.
Can we, before we get, all right, because Harold, who's the principal? Pete Myerson.
I thought it was Peter, but I saw the sign, but
And the sign says Al, right?
I no comment.
Yeah.
I saw Myerson, but I didn't.
I think, so before we get into the mush with that, because we're gonna express our appreciation to Al, I don't even know his first name. Can we just be sure that?
It is Pete Myers.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
sign, can
yeah.
can we, I think I saw Al out there. So,
Let's check this out.
and then the only other thing, because what comes to my mind is what Joni just said is, you know, those, we gave you the responsibility to authorize those banners to be hung in lieu of coming to votes because there were issues with that, right? When those banners get presented, do they say that they're high, that the banner is gonna be, you know, welcome you home, staff sergeant, first sergeant? Do you get all that information?
Usually veteran-specific banners are handled by the Veteran Services Officer, Joe Dean, consultation, usually with John Crandall. Because Mr. Crandall is the one with the connections to actually get hung. Our highway department doesn't have the equipment to hang. So John usually has friends who are willing to bring a bucket truck down for free to hang them. He knows the dimensions for the banner, so usually when someone needs to hang a banner and they have a legitimate purpose, and there's no reason why they wouldn't be approved to do so, they send them to John and he helps them organize getting it up. So I'm surprised that there was an error because John is usually very good about
I
that.
think I saw Al on the sign, unless I drove by too quick and my brain didn't work properly.
We'll
Not
just
that
have
that
to
ever
check
happens,
it
but-
and let John know.
Let's just be sure that if the name is right on the sign, and that if we're gonna thank this guy, we haven't at least said, oh yeah, Al, no, it wasn't Al, it's Pete.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it was Pete Myerson.
Yes, I believe his name is Peter.
Sorry.
The one other one I had was from one of the folks in regards to Jingle Fest wants to have a snowman contest
I
on the
can't wait.
sidewalks out here. The dates would be Friday, December 2nd to Sunday, December 4th. This past year, they did some like music stuff, carol stuff out there. It's John Hughes. I don't see a problem with that, but he just wanted to make sure it was okay. I don't think we need a motion per se, but it would just be snowmen built on Friday afternoon, Saturday morning
We're on the town common.
on the sidewalk in front of the town here.
What if there's no snow?
I asked that question and he said they just wouldn't do it. And it would just be an extension of some other things they do here during Jingle Fest.
As long as the highway project is not going to interfere.
No, they'll be offline by then.
Yeah, the asphalt.
So,
They're closing.
Yeah.
Right after Thanksgiving.
It's something we granted last year, but now it's just adding snow.
Did we have a
Snow
Jingle
people.
Fest last year?
We did.
Where was I?
was at the church last year, and they also came across the street.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so he just wanted to ask, I said, I'll check with the board, but I think it's okay, so I can certainly let him know.
How come they want to do it there and not across the street, like on the town common? The rest of the activities.
That I don't know. Good question.
Are they gonna dress them up looking like the 3 select board members?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I want big ears.
Yeah. When you dress me up, I want to make sure you have hair.
Fair. Just we'll give them those details.
All right. That's fine. I have no issue with that.
Okay. Otherwise, we will shift into executive session. We will not return. We could vote the July 12th minutes before we went into executive session, taking that out of order. I also have one question from Joseph.
Well, just before you close down here, Dick, I sent you an email, I don't know if you saw it, about getting on the agenda to discuss the union vote.
Yes, but I haven't had a chance to approach it before.
What's that?
I said I haven't had a chance to approach it with the board. That's why you're hearing about it now.
Yeah.
Well, I just, on a future agenda, we need to start, thinking about that as we, I didn't want to, until we got past the town meeting and got past the ballot question and all that, and hopefully it looks like maybe we're getting past some of this hiring stuff, but, we need to, that building over there is in pretty bad shape, so we need to be figuring out how we're going to approach this. I think the community preservation did as much as they can do. It's a school project, it's a capital project. It has to be handled, via the school district. And so we need to talk to them and about how to proceed with this.
We did get money, right?
It was put in the budget. I haven't heard anything back about
Okay.
it. The governor had the final say on that. We got $150,000
What's that?
to take off the lead paint and to paint the building.
What's 150,000?
We got an earmark on it was a bond bill.
Mm.
And it was placed by Senator Kennedy as an item. And I haven't heard anything more about it, but it was ultimately going to be in the hands of the governor, whether he signs it or not. But so there's potential for 150,000.
That'll help.
Yeah.
You know.
So
Or we
if-
may be able to redirect some of those funds. You gotta be, the one thing you're gonna have to be careful with that building, which is one of the reasons that the bandstand and the gazebo is a potential issue, is that the minute you start making substantial changes to any kind of structure, the ADA steps in the architecture barriers board, the ADA. And all of a sudden, if you reach a certain threshold, you have to bring everything into compliance. Meaning you have to get bathrooms. The gazebo, if you spend $150,000 on it, the slats on it are not code compliant. It has to be handicapped accessible, so you
You have to
have to put a ramp on it. There's a whole bunch of little things. Plugs have to be in certain places, so when you feet apart, there's all kinds of codes that will have to be adhered to, which is gonna drive up the cost of the project. I think the most important thing, the bandstand is.
Harold wants to use it for the 350th anniversary.
Make note of that.
That's what Brian wanted to do with Union School, so.
I agree with him that day.
Yeah.
I think the roof is a big problem there right now.
Well, the roof has been leaking for some number of years, and we've had issues with the water dripping into the light fixtures.
Yeah. And electrical.
I've been involved in it.
Let's get that on the agenda with an update of the fundage potential, as well as maybe, if you don't mind sending around that quote again from the group that come out, though I know the number was wild, but
Yes. it's under-
yeah, so let's take a look
Yeah,
at that.
it was close to 900.
Yeah, it was, and it was like everything, it was, but, you know,
I believe the school has it in their capital plan for 100,000,
yeah,
but, of course, most of that will be us, and still, I don't know, with all the abatement issues and everything, that's probably low,
yeah,
but in any case, it's, we need to start talking about.
we'll look to get that on the next agenda.
You,
properly.
And the
I'm
bandstand
pretty
too.
sure I sent you.
And the bandstand too.
Guys,
Do you want both on the second?
Yeah,
Go ahead, John.
I'm pretty sure I sent you guys the assessment.
For the school.
Yes, that we received, that we had done. Is that something you still have access to? or-
Yeah. I do.
That big document, right?
Yeah, that's got in the middle of it, it's also got the budget, the money. But anyway, all right, so good, so do we have a date on that, or?
It's currently scheduled for the 2nd,
Yeah, we'll put it on.
yeah,
All right, I don't, at this point, I don't see that there's any reason to involve other committees or the whole committee. I just thought, soon if I had a date, I would email the members of the CPC.
okay,
I would email the historical, people. And, anybody that might want to say, well, show up.
I said you might want to be posting it because if people show up. you gotta-
that could be an epically long meeting, so
yeah,
we're gonna follow a
starting at
specific
3 in the
order.
afternoon to
Um,
interview.
So I'll just email the usual suspects.
Yeah, if things go really quickly, then, we'll try to stick to the order as best we can, with full disclosure that that meeting could be super long, it could be really quick to the interviews, we're gonna find out when we get there.
But I mean, now if a lot of people showed up, would it,
Brian shows up you're in violation of open meeting law.
even if nobody says anything?
Well, they can be there, they
You
just
can be
can't
there.
deliberate.
You
Yeah.
can't deliberate.
Which is challenging to do.
Yeah.
It's challenging not to say anything
Right.
that night.
Well, no.
Or we could push it to another meeting if you rather, but we could always make a call that night and say we're gonna table topic 3 because of.
All right, well,
Well, the next would be
it's not
August.
something, that it has to be done immediately.
Okay.
It may be better when we can, so the next, after that, the site would be the 16th. So it's like 2 weeks out, where we won't have started it,
You wanna,
Yeah.
It may be better because we're gonna be starting at 3 o'clock next Tuesday,
yeah, that's fine.
interviewing
Okay,
8
all
people.
right, we'll do that. And then if you want to invite the other CPC members, then we can make it a more broader discussion.
But as long as they have a joint meeting. If
Right.
they have a quorum, they need to post a joint meeting.
Yeah, and you've got plenty of time to do that for that.
Yes, the 16th would work.
And as far as the bandstand is concerned, I still think that, the director of the Community Preservation Coalition told me that municipal property, town-owned property does not, qualify for funding, but, recreation, and this is not a historic, a structure. Recreation would. So,
And that qualifies
but it
as
should
recreation.
be,
Yeah.
it should be under, he said that it really should be under the auspices, the control of recreation. And I said, I know they do the maintenance there, you know, they take care of it and everything, but I guess it's still that, you know, that the town common is your jurisdiction. So, you know, I'm looking currently, trying to find out, I want to see what the deed says. And I wanted, I don't know if any of you guys remember, you guys were, you know, when town meeting voted to make that the town common. I'm trying to find out when that, I just want to, I'd like to see the wording, I'd like to see the wording of the deed when the town purchased that. Just to see what.
It has an address,
It has an address, what is it,
510 Main Street.
510?
It absolutely has an address of 510 Main.
I figured it did, 511, this is 511.
Yeah,
If you
I
find it,
went-
email it along for that meeting on the 16th.
What's that?
If you find a deed, I would love to email it along.
I haven't looked for the deed, but
But you can go on Middlesex County.
Registry of deeds, yeah.
What's that?
You can go on to the Middlesex County Registry of Deeds. There's a search engine. that-
I was there, so what do I need to do? I can just.
You have to put the address in 511 Dunstable.
510 Main Street.
I'd be willing to bet you that there were no street numbers when that.
Yeah.
So it was on the fine then.
The street numbers have not been in Dunstable for that many years.
There may be some sort
So
of reference to it.
there is. So
When
what
we-
happened, no, let me tell you how, if you, in addition to the street number, it has a parcel number.
Mhm.
I can get you the parcel number. and
Well, I went on I looked on the assessor's map and I took a number, is that the parcel number that's on that
It
map?
is lot and parcel.
I don't know, but the parcel number in the permit database for the town, the electrical permits, it gives you the parcel number in case you don't have a street number. So it does, you can get that in that permit database if you're, I don't know if you're registered in there or how to get that, but
And that might be what's registered.
he is, because there's still an electrical issue over there, and they didn't have the street number, but National Grid said it's 510.
I got it right here.
Huh?
Got it right here.
They'll give you the parcel number, because he's right, the street number's not that old. And I just have one quick question, is the Grange not having a fair this year?
I don't know, it doesn't look good, but I would love to see them have one more fair for the 350th. I don't know if, you know, I'm not a member, you know, they're just, everybody's getting a little long in the tooth and, you know, the youngsters are doing other stuff,
So the only issue that we're gonna have is that Lynch is gonna shut the power off to that. And it's gonna be out for probably about 3 or 4 weeks.
There's no fair this year.
So there's no fair this year.
Okay,
You know, I'm talking, yeah, the fair would have been
okay,
right around that.
next year, all right, that's, so I
I'm
can,
talking-
we're okay with, because I held that guy off today about, because I wasn't sure what they were gonna
Oh,
have.
geez, yeah, that would have been a bummer. And that band last night, they were great.
I think that ships us to executive session. Thank you, Simmons.
Time to go, dear. Here's your hat, what's your?
Executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Clause 2, strategy for contract negotiations for non-union personnel, fire chief.
August 16th.
16th, yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
And roll call, Kieran, and
Well, Michael, yes.
We have asked me, yes.